I'm glad we all are here gathered together to kind of celebrate that. I think this is the last talk for the day with two more. Oh, okay. So I'm glad that people will not be dozing off to sleep considering that it's the last one. But before we pitches the attendance, Sir has already given my introduction, but after life sciences we've been dealing with other programs also. And the Anusandhan National Research Foundation that you all know today, it has transformed from the Science and Engineering Research Board. And one of the dignitaries sitting right in front of me has played a very, very vital role in bringing that up right from its inception to seeing the bill getting passed in the Parliament. And in fact, like he rightly said last year, that he's the only person in government service who saw it getting conceived, getting implemented, and now getting transformed. Right in his career itself, which is kind of not very common in the government sector. But yes, we've been very blessed to have worked under his guidance and supervision, and he was the one who kind of helped it transform and got the bill passed. And I still remember the joy on his face when he shared with us that it's been, placed into the Parliament and it's been passed now and it's been gazette notified now, and every step he was to inform us, and the joy and pleasure that was there in his voice and on his face, we still remember that. And then with that vision, we set on to take up new programs, the transformations that we were thinking of bringing about as compared to SCRP. And as some of you who might have invested or who might have applied in SCRP might be knowing the level of transparency and the our beneficiaries have always had a very, very positive vibe about SCRP, funding our projects right from small-scale projects to large, high-value projects running in crores, in setting up facilities across the country, such as some BSFP facilities, some 3D bioprinting facilities, some cryo-EM facilities, some high-end technologies also. And I think for this very reason, SCRP was chosen to be, taken up as Anusandhan National Research Foundation, given the robust framework of fund dispersal that was already there in place in SCRP. So with that platform, it was then scaled up to the Anusandhan National Research Foundation. The Anusandhan National Research Foundation was established as an Act of Parliament 2023, and essentially it was started functioning in February 2024. So we have slightly over 1 year with us since it was established, and the ANRF has already started rolling out a lot of programs which I will be talking about later. But given the theme of this conference, the TRIPS, the Technology Research Innovation Policy Summit, why do we really need innovation in research to help us, and the role of policy making that is required for research in India? I think the first and foremost thing that we as a funding agency were also keeping in mind during this transformation was the ease of doing science. Why? Because we need to ensure that the funding that is given to our researchers is utilized effectively and efficiently, so that once these funds are disbursed, there are no hiccups at ground level, at a practical level in utilizing it. So one of the small steps that ANRF would be introducing in its funding programs, that it would not be having restrictions on the type of recurring subheads For example, the research funding would only be broadly classified into non-recurring and recurring. Non-recurring is for buying equipment, and the recurring would be for consumables, manpower, travel, contingency, field work, etc. Earlier funding programs used to have bifurcations in particular subheads within the recurring. We could not exceed the limits, and there had caps. So that kind of, those limitations, restrictions have been removed now. There's a flexibility given to the program investigators, project investigators to utilize the recurring funding under this head the way they want to, the way they feel appropriate for the project in order to have no hiccups while running their programs. So that they do not have to come back and say that we could not utilize this amount and therefore the sanction amount goes to. After all, it's their hard work, the toil they put in to write a project, to conceive it, to write it down in the desired format, go through the rigorous evaluation process that SERB and ANRF is really well known for, and then eventually get funded, and then that sanction amount has to be returned back. So to kind of think out those difficulties, this is one small step that has been made. And also, the Government of India is also kind of bringing in that ease of doing science index so as to have India at the forefront. And recently there was this office order where there was a flexibility given in the GFR rules for procuring, for doing procurements from government funding, government funds. And we had some limitations of you can't exceed this amount, 2.5 lakhs or 5 lakhs for local purchases, etc. So those kind of small steps are being, brought out, rolled out, especially for people doing research in the national labs. And these small steps, I think, will definitely help our researchers who are kind of struggling at times without funds and at times with funds, but still not able to, do those procurements and get the ball rolling for their research work. So these kind of small steps are already being done by the government agencies. I think gender equality, gender inclusivity is something that we just talk about but we don't implement. In fact, recently I was there for a meeting where we had just 2 women experts out of 28. Our gender equality had gone for a toss completely. And, okay, so the slides are there. I think it's already read that out and I think that we will be required. Yes, so I was talking about the INSA National Research Foundation, how it established and the important role that it takes up in impacting research and bringing about that transformation in science and technology that we all have to do. Some of the women leaders that we all have seen in the Indian science and technology areas, but some of the women leaders that we recently saw taking up authoritative or good administrative senior positions recently in the science and technology arena. These are just very few representative examples. I'm pretty sure there will be more. But this is the transformation that India is now seeing after a couple of years of establishment. This is the ease of doing science that I was just talking about, that we want to make sure that the funds are being utilized efficiently and effectively. And by doing that, we also want to make sure that the human resources, the equipment, materials, etc., which all are basic requirements for a person to do research in the country, are made available to him or her at a very, very unconditional level, so that he or she can pursue the research that he or she is trying to do. So these are some of the problem areas that our researchers usually face in utilizing the funds, even if they have water sanction. And in order to do that, in order to bring about that ease of utilization, that was that small step that I was mentioning, that we are now removing those cappings or those restrictions within the recurring and non-recurring hits. And of course, Fundraising is always an issue, and we are also talking about public-private partnership, bringing in the industry now along with academia. And on those lines also, ANRF was also thinking about a lot of missions and programs where in these programs that we rolled out almost 7,000 applications in the PMECRG, Prime Minister Early Career Research Grant. And to support our missions, including industry partnership, this EV mission was launched recently, and that has also received a very nice response from our research fraternity. Even the industry is participating wholeheartedly for these programs and really coming up to them. The JC Rose grant was released, the Nomination Fellowship has also taken off, and we are also taking up some programs with the interface of social sciences and science and engineering. NRF is intending to set up centers of excellence, and that's what is also on to set up centers of excellence. So, not just these, actually a lot of programs are also underway in the process of development, and in the next couple of months, I think we should be seeing a lot of programs being rolled out. In fact, in the advanced research grant that the fall that was launched, that was recently completed last month, it is intended to complete the cycle of 12 months within 4 months and declare the results as soon as possible, so that another one will be launched this year itself. So that the gap that has come up in 2024 with the calls not being launched, our research fraternity is not left stranded, and we are able to really cater to their research needs. So with that in mind, I think we do have a lot of hope in the future. We should not be feeling stranded as researchers, because the funding agencies are always there to take care and to help. Thank you.